At this time, I would like to ask everyone to please lower your heads and raise your hand if the following question applies to you. How many of you know or have seen someone with a learning disability, such as Down syndrome, autism, or ADHD? Now, I would like everyone to please look back up. Notice that every time you walk into a classroom, a seat in the front has been reserved for someone with any sort of learning disability. Here at Cal Poly, we do our most to be inclusive. This inclusive nature, however, should not only follow inside the school environment, but outside. Students with disabilities should have equal experiences in their day-to-day life to therefore have the equal experience they deserve. In order to give these students the equal experience that they deserve, I will be focusing on 3 major points. 1. Students with intellectual and developmental disabilities are treated unfairly inside the school environment. 2. These students should no longer be segregated from the general environment. And 3. I will be focusing on a future in which these issues are resolved, as well as help us find a common ground to advocate for these students. Students with intellectual and developmental disabilities are treated unfairly, which therefore limits them from jobs and further opportunities in the future. My junior year of high school, I was a part of the PALS program, a program which worked with students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Every year, this program held a prom for these students where they danced the night away with the same group of people in their class. Now, although this may seem like a great idea, it was ultimately saddening to realize that they weren't getting the same experience as everyone else. Because they were dancing with the same group of people and not dancing with everyone else, they were lacking the skills to therefore interact with others in the future, which would then limit them from jobs and other opportunities as they get older. In a study conducted at the University of Texas in 2018, where employers were interviewed, employers stated that they were less prone to hire people with intellectual and developmental disabilities because they lacked these skills and because they lacked the necessary knowledge to work with customers and other employers. Now, let's put this in context for the whole year. In 2018, the rate of those with intellectual and developmental disabilities that were actually working was 19.1% in contrast to the entire population. For those without disabilities, it was 65.9% for those that were actually working, in contrast to the entire population. The American Community Survey estimates that the overall rate of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities that were working was about 12.8%. In 2018, the majority of the people with intellectual and developmental disabilities were about 65 and over, meaning that because they weren't working prior, because they were only working during the time that it was about 12.8%, these individuals now don't have enough money in retirement and have to rely on government aid or any other sort of money that they can get to keep themselves sustained for the rest of their life. The only way to solve this issue is to stop segregating these students from general services and normalize events for them. Ways this can be done is to have teachers be aware of these differences and create a system where they highlight the major ideas and goals that these individuals need, and then tailor their teaching in order to help them. The inequality, disability,